When you think of boxing, what comes to mind? Probably two people fighting in a ring, right? But for the insiders, the people who really get it, they don't just call it fighting. They have a different name for it, something way more elegant: the sweet science. So, what exactly is that?
So, the sweet science, it's this idea that boxing is this incredible blend of, get this, physics, geometry, and psychological warfare. It's not just about brute strength, it's about being smart. And for an organization we're going to talk about, the Equal Chance Boxing Foundation, this science isn't just for the ring. No, for them it's actually a blueprint for life for young people. Okay, so let's get into the heart of it. Why does this matter so much, especially right now? Well, the truth is, a lot of young people today are facing some really tough challenges. We're talking everything from social anxiety to real economic struggles. And the tough part? There just aren't as many places for them to turn for help anymore. I mean, just think about it for a second. Free sports programs, they're becoming super rare. Social anxiety is skyrocketing. And a lot of kids are just missing that sense of discipline or a positive role model to look up to. This is the world that the Equal Chance Boxing Foundation is stepping into. And they're tackling it with a pretty unique tool.
At the core of what they do is this really powerful idea. They believe the boxing ring is the most honest classroom a young person will ever set foot in. It's a place where they think real, deep change can happen. So, you're probably wondering, how on earth does that actually work?
Well, this is where we get into the real nuts and bolts of their program. It's all about technique, discipline, and control. They take that science of boxing and break it all down. And listen, their goal isn't to create a bunch of professional fighters. Not at all. It's about building disciplined, controlled, and really resilient young people. The very first thing they teach is this huge mental shift. It's this simple but profound idea. It's not about anger, it's about physics. Real power doesn't come from being mad. It comes from understanding how your own body works and using that knowledge, almost like an engineer, to solve a physical problem right in front of you.
So instead of tension and anger, they learn that real power comes from things like alignment, timing, and leverage. Learning to properly pivot your foot while rotating your hip to throw a punch, that's not just a physical move. It's actually a pretty complex task for your brain. The whole focus just shifts away from aggression and towards problem solving. It's this amazing link between moving your body and mastering your mind.
And this gets to a really, really important distinction they make. It's the difference between punishment and discipline. See, punishment is something that's done to you from the outside. But discipline? That's something you build up inside yourself. It's all about learning to control your own reactions, to master yourself, not just being forced to obey.
There's a quote from the foundation that just says it all perfectly. Boxing isn't about hitting, it's about not getting hit while maintaining your composure. Man, that's the whole philosophy right there. It's all about learning to keep your cool when the pressure is on.
And they don't just talk about self-control, they build it through very specific drills, like teaching kids to keep their hands up even when they're totally gassed, or to take a deep breath and reset after they make a mistake instead of just getting angry. These drills, done over and over, literally help regulate their nervous system. It proves that a cool head will always, always beat a hot heart.
Okay, I know what you might be thinking. This all sounds great, but what about the practical stuff? Like, is it actually safe for kids? And how much does it cost? Well, we're going to tackle those questions head on. Plus, we'll get into some of the really incredible mental health benefits.
So let's start with the big one, the question every parent asks, and for good reason. Is boxing safe for kids? The foundation is super direct about this.
Their approach to safety is incredibly structured. For starters, most of the training is actually zero contact. We're talking shadow boxing, hitting the heavy bags, working the mitts. If, and that's a big if, a kid ever does spar, it's what they call touch sparring. It's super supervised, with big, oversized gloves and headgear. The whole idea is non-violent. It's a sport of defense and timing, not aggression.
And beyond just the physical safety, there's this amazing mental health benefit. They actually call it moving meditation. Think about it. Boxing requires 100% of your attention. You can't be thinking about your problems at school or home. It forces you right into the present moment. For a kid who's struggling with anxiety or ADHD, this can be a game changer. It's a way to finally quiet all that internal noise and just find some clarity.
But look, a great program doesn't do any good if kids can't get to it, right? And today, so many youth sports have this pay-to-play problem. If your family doesn't have a lot of money, you're pretty much locked out of quality programs.
And this is where the Equal Chance Boxing Foundation really makes its stand.
Because they're a nonprofit, their programs are 100% free. They provide everything, the gloves, the hand wraps, all of it. They even take their programs directly into the communities that need them the most. They're making sure a family's bank account never, ever stands in the way of a kid's opportunity.
So you can see this work it's incredibly powerful, but it doesn't just happen on its own. So for this last part, let's talk about our role in this whole story. We're going to shift from just understanding the program to seeing how we can actually be part of the solution. You know, in boxing, no fighter ever wins a match by themselves. They always have someone in their corner, the corner man. That's the person giving them strategy, support, and just that unwavering belief that they can win. Well, the foundation, they are the corner man for these kids. Kids who are in the fight of their lives, not against another boxer, but against things like poverty and loneliness and just not knowing which way to go.
And let's talk about impact, because it is real and it is growing. So far, they have trained over 500 young people. That's 500 kids introduced to the discipline and focus of the sweet science.
And it goes deeper than just training. They can point to over 150 lives that have been completely transformed. These are kids who found a brand new path, a real sense of purpose, all because of this program.
But get this next number, because I think this one says everything. They have a 95% completion rate for their program. 95%. In a world where it's so easy for kids to get distracted and drop out of things, that is a huge testament to how much these kids value what they're getting.
And this is where support from people like you and me comes into play. A donation isn't just a number on a page. It becomes a real tool. It buys professional-grade safety equipment. It funds life-changing mentorship from coaches who really care. It helps them expand into another neighborhood that needs them. It provides resources for mental health. It's tangible. So really, it all boils down to this one last powerful question. These kids are in the ring, they're fighting for their future. The foundation is right there with them, giving them the tools and the strategy, but that corner, it can always use more support. So the question for all of us is a pretty simple one. Will you be in their corner?